Greetings! Welcome to Glimmers of the Past, an interactive exhibition of the most recent electroarchaeological discoveries from our home planet, Earth. Broadcast live to you from the archives of Proxima Centauri b. Now, where are you joining us from today? Wolf 1061c. A marvelous planet indeed. Congratulations on surviving the rotational period and staying sane. Based on your proximity, irregularities in the quantum teleport data transfer may be possible. Please report any data disruptions greater than 5% to your data provider. Today we present to you a discovery once known as a shopping center, also known as a mall. This vista has been recreated from entertainment data created circa 100 years AGMS, depicting everyday life from approximately 30 years BGMS. Sadly, most real recordings of the time were destroyed in the geomagnetic storm that marks the beginning of our current age. This is probably the closest approximation we can hope to have of the average lifestyle at that time. According to our extensive research, the shopping center was a place where denizens of the age congregated to acquire various life experiences. As the name suggests, such structures are often located at the center of the community, serving as distinctive landmarks. The word mall is thought to come from the word small. The buildings were small compared to the rest of their surroundings, which usually included a large paved square used for the collecting of heat energy from Sol. These monoliths were constructed of steel, silicates, and certain polycarbonates. Those sound like archaic materials. Perhaps, but you have to understand that those were the most commonly used at the time. We have prepared an explanation of some of the experiences that would have been offered here. You might be wondering about my attire today. All of the experiences here required a certain garb to be worn. Mine is a simulation of what would have been worn to the ride in the glass cage. Garbs could be rented for the duration of their visit in one of many garb rental locations. Why wouldn't they purchase them instead? Purchasing instead of rental? What would they do with so many garbs? They don't look utilitarian enough to be properly reused. The experience of the shopping center would often leave visitors mentally and physically exhausted. It was common for exhausted guests to lie down and rest for a while. Due to high stress levels of visitors, there was always a staff member present, playing calming sounds on a musical instrument. Why do the sleeping areas have a wall on one side? Since more modern sleeping apparatuses weren't invented, they had to utilize some sort of a mechanism to prevent falling. The commonly accepted sleeping direction was with the head to the north. Since this was before genetically enforced ambidextrosity, we believe that the population was split evenly between left and right-handed people. After all, handedness is a strong predictor of the side you're prone to roll to in your sleep. These could have been used for sitting. Curious preposition. Sitting for rest instead of lying down. The glass cage was a curious invention. Even the people of the time were interested in spaceflight. The most widely accepted theory for this device is that it was a training apparatus for physical isolation while watching the rest of the world move on as usual. There exist several other versions of this device without the transparency to simulate complete isolation, but we have no visual records of them. It is believed the training was used to simulate the issues associated with near-light speed travel and the time dilation experienced there. Moreover, if you take a closer look, you can see that it's connected to a movement mechanism. After a successful isolation session, the mechanisms were activated to move the glass cage upwards or downwards, sometimes the whole length of the building. It is believed this training was used to simulate the higher G's and weightlessness of a sudden acceleration. Why didn't they just use centrifuge? While they certainly were also in use, this mechanism was used more often since it utilized unused vertical spaces and was more accessible to the general public. You've read a theory that the glass cages could have been used for moving between floors. A fascinating theory, such an elaborate design for such a simple function. We have dubbed these devices as exercise polishers to describe their dual function. Primarily, they were used to train for long stretches of climbing upwards or downwards. We actually have rare, authentic footage of this apparatus being used by a child as young as 3 sole years for running upwards repeatedly. Peculiar. It seems like your connection isn't strong enough to support video transfer. Fear not, you can find it in the archives later. Moving on. Secondarily, the peculiar air pressure in these buildings meant that most of particulate pollutants rested at ankle level and made the shoes of all visitors extremely dirty. As such, it was customary to finish any trip to the shopping center with a full-length ride while touching one's shoe to the polishing devices on the sides of the machine in order to remove the particulates. The exercise polishers could have been used to replace stairs. What an interesting proposal. I don't understand why they'd want to make moving between floors more strenuous. That brings us to the end of the exhibition. We have appreciated your patronage. If you have any other questions or theories, please log them with your local electroarchaeological board. We hope to connect to you again in the future.